Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jackson. Thank you for joining us. We're in the lobby once again, of course, of Fairfield Federal downtown. COVID remains the buzzword, the word of the day, and every show we do, every segment we do, we always talk about that because everybody we have on, to some degree, more or less, usually more, has been affected by the COVID virus. And today our segments will indicate that also. The second segment of the show today, we'll talk with Jason Crabill. Jason is the director of Decorative Art Center, just up the road here, maybe 100 yards, and he'll be down to talk about how COVID has affected them. They, of course, have lots of exhibitions going on this time of the year. It's a busy time for the Decorative Art Center with the gift shop and with all the programs that they run. Well, things are a little bit different right now. As you can imagine, things are put on hold for them in terms of allowing people to come in. But we'll talk to Jason in the second half of the show about that. Our first segment of the show is Lancaster transportation, and you see the white vans going around town. When I was a young person in this town, I remember we used to have city buses, and we had, I guess they were city cabs, I'm not sure, but they were cabs and buses. We had all that going on. Well, then for years, kind of everything left us. We didn't have anything. And then a few years ago, the transportation department kind of developed in the city, and they're back now. And Carrie Woody was the kind of the originator, the founder of that. She was the first director, and we've had her on many times. But today we're pleased to have on Chastelyn Carter. Chasilyn is the assistant director for the Lancaster Transportation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Challenging time now with the. Were you there last year at this time when the winter came in?
Yes, I actually served as the general manager for the company that Ride Right for the company that the city contracted before, and then Carrie kept me over as the assistant director. So.
Well, a while back we had our first snow of the year, and I would imagine that is a challenging time, regardless of the virus. But talking about transportation, does that create any real chaos? Do you have some call-offs? Do you have to change routes? Do you have to do anything special when the weather gets bad?
We definitely have to be more cautious. Yeah. We do have sometimes call-offs. A lot of our drivers live outside of Lancaster, so driving in, it's a challenge for them. We definitely are all about safety, so we tell them, drive slow, increase your following distances.
Yeah, don't do any fender benders. We don't want to lose vans.
And then if they feel unsafe, because sometimes we travel out, on these back roads that are a little scary at times. Yeah. So if they don't feel safe going down there, we make other travel arrangements for our passengers. Sure.
Chasilyn Carter is with us. She's the assistant director for the Lancaster Transportation. And when we think we talk about every segment, no matter who we have on, COVID is the buzzword, and I'm sure that's the case with you. And we see these white vans moving around, white and blue, and they're like buses. We have a lot of windows and a lot of open space there. You must have had to make some dramatic changes in protocols and things you do to make these buses still safe.
Oh, yes. So we have cleaning supplies on all of our buses. Our drivers clean between trips. They also clean a thorough cleaning at the end of each shift. Oh. We also have an electric static sprayer. Our bus washer every day is going in and doing a thorough.
That's the ones like we see on TV where they spray this around.
Yes, a thorough sanitizing each bus. And then masks. We have masks for our customers that they need.
So you have to wear a mask if you're going to be on the bus. If you don't have one, you'll provide one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And our drivers, have to wear one when any passengers getting on or off the bus, especially if they're helping them with groceries, securing wheelchairs.
Yeah.
We have gloves for our drivers to wear. So
it's a challenging time. But everything's working out then. I mean, you've had to make, again, dramatic changes on your end to keep everything moving. You haven't had to stop anything or do anything like that?
No, we haven't.
Knock on wood, I understand.
We have been pretty lucky down there. So.
Yeah, well, good. it's an exciting time. I know you have some current hours that we can talk about on your routes. Are things changing a little bit as we move into this time of year?
Typically we get a little slower in the winter. Our business hours are still the same. So our demand and response, which is our door-to-door service, it runs from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Our loops, we have 4 flex routes around town. In Lancaster, we have 1 in Pickerington. The 4 in Lancaster run from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. And then in Pickerington, we run Monday through Thursday from 9 to 5. Saturdays, we do have demand and response service. That is from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So this time of the year, the winter, and I guess we could expect that it slows down a little bit now. The calls don't come in quite as often.
Yeah, and then you have school breaks and all of our different programs that we transport kind of breaks with that.
And so you haven't added, I know over the years we've talked when Carrie's been on with us, and you've continued to add routes as things are needed, but you're pretty stable now in how things are running right now.
Yes. And if I could just take just 1 second, just to kind of give a shout out to Carrie, because when she came in 10, 11 years ago, it was a few cabs, and now it's amazing what she has built. So
it's truly a transportation system now.
It is. It really is. So she definitely deserves a shout out for that.
Yeah. Well, it's nice of you as your boss to mention that. She works directly for Carrie, but Carrie has done a great job, as we call her, the princess of the transportation world. We gave her a tiara on this show one day to just show that. I hope she does. Anyway, so Chastelyn Carter is our guest. She's the assistant director. There's Carrie, and then Chasilyn is with us today. And something that I was talking to Carrie about a new service you're going to expand, and really this is, in my mind, kind of way out there. Pickerington I thought was way out there because you were just Lancaster and around here for years when this started. Now you've expanded out there. So you have something now, even more of an expansion coming.
Yes, we just received a grant to start a pilot from Lancaster to Rickenbacker.
Wow.
So we don't have all the details worked out, but ideally it'll start here. We'll have several stops along the way, and we will meet at a hub right near the Rickenbacker Airport service. We'll meet CODA there, several other transit services. So even if a customer is not going to the airport, they can catch the CODA bus into Columbus or another bus to whatever part of Ohio that they need.
Now, is this the first time you've ever kind of ventured out of your little world right here to do that?
Yeah, typically we're inside of Fairfield County.
Yes.
We do go to Columbus quite often, and we can go up to 100 miles outside of the county if we have availability for that.
I guess I'm interested, I'm assuming Carrie was involved in perhaps writing a grant, or these things just don't occur. There's probably a lot of planning. So she must have, and you, your office down there, must have seen where you think there's a need for that now to go up to Rickenbacker and John Glenn Airport also?
Yeah, we do get a lot of requests to go back and forth to the airport. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be something that will service not only Lancaster, but like I said, the counties along the way, and anyone that needs to work in Columbus or.
Now, when you, obviously there's a lot of logistics, like you say, you're going to figure out some stops on the way, so you can make this work in a lot of ways, mm-hmm. rather than just A to B. There'll be some things in between there. But now with a grant, will you need to bring on more buses, more physical pieces of equipment for this?
Yeah, we'll definitely need more drivers. So right now we are accepting applications for drivers. You can just go onto the city website and fill out the transit operator application. And then we will be receiving, I think we have enough buses, but we will be getting some new buses this year and next year. So.
Okay. And what's the city's website?
It is ci.lancaster.oh.us.
Well, she's taught you well, because I was sure I would get you when I asked you that. But if you just put in your search engine there, you put in Lancaster City, you'll come up with that. So what typically would a driver expected to have? I assume they'd have to have some type of CDL license.
We actually do not have to have a CDL license. transport less than 15 passengers. So they just have to have their regular Class D license.
Okay.
They will have to be able to pass a DOT physical. They'll have to have a clean drug and alcohol screening. They'll have to go through a BCI background check. And they will have to have a clean driving record.
Do they have to actually test on the vehicles themselves? For example, Bill Burrows, you probably know Bill, who heads up at sanitation. When he hires somebody in there, they actually have to go take a test on backing up and driving a big vehicle like that. Is that something that your folks have to go through?
Yes, they go through about a 2-week training course.
Okay.
So they'll have in-depth videos that kind of explain every little thing about transit, and then we have hands-on, one-on-one driving, and then cadetting as well. So they get an extensive training before we set them out on the road.
And then now they'll have to have extensive training on how to clean.
Yes, for sure. I think it's going to be a part of.
And I'm sure you kept the buses clean before, but as everybody did, even if you have whatever your business is, if you kept it clean before, it's nowhere near what you've had to do now. The protocols have probably been, the guidelines that have come down to you have probably been pretty extensive.
Yes, and I think it's a great thing, not only for COVID, but for any
Sure.
that comes up.
And again, maybe after this over, if it ever does end, and it will sometime, maybe and we've seen some of these protocols, we've learned how to do things in a different way now, and maybe that's some of the things you'll carry on in the future.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. How many drivers do you currently have down there?
We have 32 drivers.
32 drivers, and that's for 7-day-a-week service?
We don't run on Sundays.
So 6-day-a-week service, at least 6 to 6 or something like that. Yeah. Is there an expectation about how many you'll need full-time or part-time, I guess, you'll need for the new service?
We would like to hire at least 6 new drivers.
Okay, very good. So go on the city website, look that up, and then all the application on there, and they'll tell you what you need to have and how you need to do it.
Yeah, and it's a fun, rewarding job, and we have a lot of fun at work. So, if you want to join our team?
And it's really needed in the community. Like I say, as I remember cabs and buses, there are people. There's a segment of the society that this is very helpful for, and they really need that. It would be worse if you didn't have it. Yeah. Chastelyn Carter's with us today, Assistant Director for the Lancaster Public Transportation. So give our best to your boss. But we're glad you were here. We'll look forward to having you on again. You did a great job.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. We'll be back with word about the Decorative Arts Center and the change they have to make up there in just a moment.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all this stuff. And we looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. And the employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, And we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Fairfield Medical goes the extra mile to give attention to their patients, to their guests, anybody that comes within those doors.
There's no question that the staff there are all personally invested in seeing that I got the best care possible.
The staff was so comforting. I felt like she was in the best hands.
They basically gave me a second chance at life, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Fun hearing about Lancaster public transportation. Appreciate Chasilyn Carter being on with us to talk about that. We move now to another kind of a nonprofit in the community that has done such a great job and made such an impact over the past years. It's the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio. Jason Crabill's with us. Jason's the executive director. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Last time I had you on, you've added a mask. You didn't have that before, and you're like me. The glasses tend to
fog up. Yep.
It's a new world. You're lucky you don't fall down when if you're outside with one of those. You can't see. You can't.
Yep. And on a cold day like today, it takes about 10 minutes for them to unfog.
And as soon as you walk in or walk out, bang,
That's
they're
right.
gone. I understand. Well, anyway, we had scheduled Jason to be on, and we're going to talk about some big things. We'll still chat about that. They always have, at this time of the year, such tremendous Christmas time exhibits up at the Decorative Arts Center, like I say, just 100 yards up the hill here from us. But no sooner do we schedule to have Jason on than, lo and behold, change occurs because of the COVID. And you're not any different from any other organization. You were affected tremendously by that. And in fact, you had to make the difficult call to really shut things down.
We did, and it was not because of any specific incident or anything. We just,
At time.
It just, the stars aligned. We were listening to the governor and the governor's recommendations, really to close things down, particularly as we got through the Thanksgiving season, and so we really just decided we were planning on opening new exhibits on November 21st and the day before.
And you were just this close.
We were, and we based on, we know that we have a safe and experience as possible. The staff has worked really hard to create that. Everyone wears masks in the space. We've got a one-way traffic flow. We really, with the numbers of people that we get, on average, we were able to keep safe distance. We knew that these exhibits were going to be popular, and we didn't feel like we just needed some more control before we really felt like being open to folks was the right call. So our buildings are closed, but the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio is still open.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what that means is you can't come into the space to see the exhibits in person yet. But we're making things available virtually. We're recording virtual tours of the exhibits and other things that we hope to be doing anyway, so that folks that for one reason or another can't come can still experience our exhibits and our classes and those sorts of things. But this has given us an opportunity to really dive into it deep, maybe a little earlier than we were ready.
It's interesting now. Again, maybe when this all passes, and we don't know when that'll be. We know it will, but we don't know when. It'll be interesting that some of these things maybe that are learned in these past 6 or 8 months, and certainly the past short time that you've been closed, maybe will be some things that you'll carry forward, and how even a good way you'll learn how to do it.
Absolutely. I think some of the things we, museums have been trying to play with over time, but sometimes, priorities and resources and just, those kinds of things get pushed. But when they become the priority, you learn real quick. So we're trying to do that.
So it's a Christmas time. We're getting into that season now. You always have such interesting exhibits this time of the year, and this was going to be no different. Right. Tell us when you open back up, and hopefully very soon, right, but prior to Christmas, we'll get open. What will we be looking forward to see?
So we actually have 2 exhibits that we'll be opening at the same time. Yep, our main exhibit is called Russian Decorative Arts, from the Tsars to the USSR, and it's a fascinating collection of of Russian paintings and ceramic objects and pins and just some finer things and some daily things from the Russian experience over the years. And it really, the collection's amazing, and it's just, there's something very powerful about being in the space with them all. And then the other exhibit is our annual Christmas exhibit that George and Jean Johnson curate every year.
We had them on last year, and we talked about it. It was a much easier time to talk about it.
Well, so this year, that exhibit is also Russian themed. We're calling it a Russian Christmas.
Nice.
And it's Russia and Eastern Europe and sort of their Christmas traditions through the years. It's kind of interesting because in Russia itself, particularly during the USSR, Christmas was sort of, and religion were sort of pushed down a little bit. So it was a challenge for George to kind of figure out. But
he's up for that.
They did an incredible job, and in fact, I made him count. He counted for us 28 trees this year. So
even with the Russian theme, still able.
With the Russian theme, one space is great. It's a 1950s sort of space race theme with the U.S. and Russia, and it's
perfect.
A room full of aluminum trees and 50s colors, and it's a best.
Little disc with the he's got it all.
He's got it all.
That's amazing.
60s,
And again, a year ago we had George on as a guest here, and we had him on with us to talk about that. And quite an interesting guy. Again, a Logan person down there, and he's done so much down there and involved in that. But you knew that if he had an exhibit, somehow it could work, because he is just the master of all this Christmas trees.
Well, and so because we're so excited to share these things, and we hope to be able to, when we do reopen. We'll be looking at ways to do that, whether it's time tickets and maybe some VIP tours with the curators themselves. Michael Reese for the Russian exhibit and George for the Christmas exhibit, to kind of create, a more personalized, do what we can, right? We've got this opportunity. We're also, we've recorded these virtual tours where that will be made available through our website and social media and kind of.
Those are yet to come online?
Yeah, we filmed them. We're now in the process, so they should be actually up probably by the time this people see this. But one of the great things about that is I have not been here for George's tours in the past, but I know that they're incredibly popular.
Yes.
And I think it's a really intimate, it's an opportunity for an intimate experience with him, where he talks about all of the spaces and the meaning behind them, and also there's an opportunity we have had an opportunity to ask him some questions about how he got into collecting Christmas and what his favorite pieces are, and some of that stuff, which I think is kind of a nice addition that I think people really enjoy.
Well, again, he is such a wealth of information, and again, having the local connection here like this. Not that there's anything wrong with bringing other people in, because they all know their subject matter forwards and backwards, but him with the local connection here is just he is known so far and wide, and to be from Hocking County, Fairfield County, that's pretty neat. And have him back every year. He loves to do this.
Yeah, he does. And at this point, the Christmas exhibit is scheduled to stay open through New Year's.
Okay.
Depending on our timing and things, and how popular it is, we may try to extend it by a week or two if we can there. And then the Russian decorative arts from the Tsars to the USSR exhibit runs currently through February 28th. So there should be time to see these exhibits in person in whatever way we're able to do that.
Whatever that is.
But we're working hard to make that possible. And in the meantime, as I said, we're virtualizing a lot of those experiences. We're trying to create virtual born experiences with our classes and our talks and all of that. So all of that information is on our website, which is decartsohio.org. I encourage folks to check that out. And that'll also be where that and social media will be where you'll find
all the
additional information,
videos and tours,
all the videos and tours and information on our physical reopening.
And let me give you a little bit of credit here. I don't know if you're the person to take this credit, but whoever works on your titles works overtime. I mean, Tsars to the USSR, I thought diptychs and triptychs. I didn't know triptychs or anything other than what you got from AAA. Right. But here you had that. Well, last time we were on, we talked about that when that was coming out. You work very hard to make it. They're interesting shows, exhibitions to begin with, terribly interesting. But somebody's working hard to put this together. Is that you?
I'm on the team, but I will not take credit. We've got a great staff and a great team.
They're very innovative.
Very creative.
Now, when we all open up here, and hopefully we'll get open here before Christmas because it's almost on us now, can we expect it to be, like you say, maybe you have a number and you'll be behind, or you have any idea how any of that will work yet?
You mean for folks to come and see the exhibit?
Yeah.
So we're working out the details, but
I'm sure it's still to be worked out.
But essentially, I think where we'll land is at least initially, call to make an appointment, and we've got a number set of appointments because we're going to tour people through the spaces with a docent, safely distanced.
It'd be a much more guided tour then 100%. For people.
I mean, for the folks that are able to do it, I think it's going to be a very, very nice, intimate experience. Not that it isn't normally. I mean, I think it's, but I think there's opportunity here for folks that when we're able to do that.
And I think people are they'll be ready for that. I mean, everybody understands now. It's just not you. It's anything they do, no matter where they go or what they do. Somehow a mask, waiting outside. If you go to a doctor's office, a dentist's office, it's all different. They'll call you when you come in, one at a time. You're not around anybody, and to the degree that you're affected by that, that's how you'll do it.
Well, and as I tell my staff, and I say this more broadly, really to anyone who will listen, there are no wrong answers because there are really no right answers at this point. Right? We're all still trying to figure it out, and we're doing the best we can, and everybody's in the same boat. And so we're all working to lift the boat together, right? So, so hopefully we will have a solution sooner than later that will allow folks to be in our spaces and be with us physically, safely. And in the meantime, we've got lots of other ways for folks to connect.
DecArtsOhio.org.
DecArtsOhio.org.
That's the website. But again, if you just put something in your search engine about decorative arts Lancaster, you'll find it. Right. I wanted to mention ahead, I was looking at, and again, you have a great website, even now with all the explanations on how things are closed and how you're doing that. But I was looking ahead to the summer of 2021, and we're going to have Randall Thropp back with the Paramount Pictures, easily the most anticipated and attended. Back then when you could attend, it was just a zoo up there. There were so many people. And again, I mentioned before we went on, we've had Randall on a couple times here. He's a local boy. He comes back, and back then it was the Edith Head dresses in the movies that Edith done with Alfred Hitchcock and others. They were on, and he is so knowledgeable and all that. So that's going to be an exciting time, and we're looking forward to that. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk with him or have you. He again, he's like George Johnson. He knows this stuff inside out.
He does, and he cares very deeply about this community
and
very deeply about the subject matter. So it's always a pleasure when we can bring him in, and we are loading this summer with plenty of activities and opportunities, to engage around the topic of fashion and costume and Paramount culture.
Everything will just be tied into the previous one and to the next one. Well, the Decorative Arts Center, it's a great spot here. It's been tough decisions you've had to make, we understand that, but ones that were needed. Nobody wants to err on anything but the side of safety, abundance of caution, as we say now. So it's a different time, so best of luck in getting open up here. Merry Christmas to you and your staff up there. We hope it will be a merry one in terms of getting people in. We'll try to get up there and see George and get all the information there on that, so good luck as we move into the holiday season here.
Thank you, Will, and if I can just say one thing.
Sure.
I want to thank the Ohio Arts Council, the Johns family, and the Fox Foundation for sponsoring the exhibit. But I also want to thank all of the donors and members and community that really support the Decorative Arts Center. This time of difficulty is no more difficult for us than it is for anyone else.
Sure.
And one of the reasons why we're able to weather the storm the way we've been and provide the resources we've been able to provide really is the support of the community and the folks who care deeply about the Decorative Arts Center as a place and an idea and as an important part of the community. So we're grateful for that.
Jason Crabill, who is the Executive Director of the Art Center, best of luck. And as we move into the czars from the USSR and the Christmas trees up there, we hope it'll be an exciting time, and somehow we'll work through this. We know we will. We'll see you back in 2021.
Sounds good, Paul.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. And thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.